Picasso arrived in Paris in 1900 in October. He was going to Paris because he had a painting at a Spanish pavilion at the Paris World's Fair, the Universal Exhibition in Paris. And you have to imagine that these kind of exhibitions were extremely large. They attracted millions and millions of visitors. And Picasso was very proud because he had been chosen as one of the Spanish artists, I have to say, of course, Catalan artist, to expose at the pavilion. And he had one painting which was called The Last Moments, which he later overpainted. But what attracted him actually most was the environment of Montmartre, the hill of Montmartre, which was then at the outskirts of the city, where all kinds of artists were living. You know, you had the studio of Toulouse-Lautrec, you had the studios of painters like, just name them, you know, all the Impressionists were settling around the Boulevard de Clichy, on Montmartre, and it was a big stimulus, of course, for artists, writers, and also composers like Erik Satie. Picasso also followed that trend that he first, when he came, he wanted, you know, to depict what he saw before his eyes. He made a lot of sketches, and luckily here in the Picasso Museum you have these wonderful sketchbooks with these small, tiny drawings where he worked with pen and pencil and gouache and watercolor. And he gave some impressions of what was happening, you know, people sitting in a cafe with a glass of absinthe, or, you know, the dance performances in the famous cabarets, the cancan dancers. So he was really trying to capture the life, but not the superficial life, but he became more and more interested in the sort of life behind. That's also when he, for example, was interested in the circus, later on, especially around 1904 and 1905, the so-called saltimbanques. It was not so much the glamour of the circus, it was not the, yeah, as I would say, the superficial side of the luxury of the entertainment. No, it was more the backstage. You know, he wanted to speak to the clowns after the performances, or the wrestlers, and he became really interested in also their struggle for life, which he compared with his own struggle of being and becoming an artist. He was also very much inspired by literature, and that's what some people might easily forget. That because Picasso is also considered as the macho who likes to paint and to be very tactile. But he was stimulated in that by friends like Marc Jacob, from Jewish origin, who was born in Quimper, Brittany, and you know, he introduced Picasso also to the literature of, for example, Baudelaire, Rimbaud, you know, famous French 19th century writers. And after that, after Marc Jacob's encounter, there was also the writer Guillaume Apollinaire, who was really very close, like Marc Jacob, with Picasso, and they both inspired each other. For example, Guillaume Apollinaire wrote poems based upon paintings by Picasso, and also Picasso, you know, was inspired by these themes to paint, especially around 1904 and 1905 with this saltimbanques period.